Rockets' Reed Sheppard solution could come from a surprising source. The Houston Rockets are quietly facing one of the more intriguing early-season dilemmas in the Western Conference. Their young core looks promising, their defense is improving, and their chemistry under head coach Ime Udoka continues to evolve, but one glaring issue remains: the guard rotation. It's no secret that the Rockets need to solidify their backcourt depth behind Fred VanVleet and Reed Sheppard. While Sheppard, the electrifying rookie, has already showcased flashes of brilliance, there's an underlying concern about his defensive limitations and ability to hold up physically against bigger NBA guards. The Rockets are fully aware that as the season grinds on, playoff-level opponents will target that weakness. That's why one potential answer might come from a surprising place: Chicago. Ayo Dosunmu, the 25-year-old combo guard for the Bulls, could quietly be the missing piece Houston has been looking for. At 6'5", Dosunmu brings the kind of size, athleticism, and defensive commitment that perfectly complements the Rockets' identity. He's versatile, unselfish, and thrives in the kind of structured, team-oriented environment that Udoka has built. The Bulls, however, are a team loaded with young guards. Between Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and Dosunmu, Chicago's backcourt depth is both a blessing and a complication. Giddey is the new addition, expected to play a major role as a jumbo playmaker. White has established himself as an offensive spark, capable of carrying stretches with his shooting and speed. That leaves Dosunmu perhaps the least flashy of the trio, but arguably the most well-rounded defender. If the Bulls decide they need to rebalance their roster by adding wing depth or frontcourt help, Dosunmu could become the odd man out. That's where the Rockets could step in. Houston's interest makes perfect basketball sense. Dosunmu defends multiple positions, brings intensity to every possession, and can thrive both on and off the ball. He's the type of guard who doesn't need touches to impact a game, yet can take pressure off the primary ball handler when necessary. While his outside shooting has been inconsistent over the years, he's shown steady improvement, and playing next to disciplined floor spacers like VanVleet, Jalen Green, and Jabari Smith Jr. could help him reach another level. The real challenge, though, lies in what Houston would have to give up. Tari Eason's name has been floated in hypothetical trade discussions, but that's a move the Rockets should think twice about. Eason embodies everything the Rockets want to be: relentless, physical, and fearless. He's one of the league's best young defenders, and even though there's tension surrounding his failed contract extension, his value to Houston's identity far outweighs the short-term benefit of adding Dosunmu. Eason isn't just a forward who hustles, he's the kind of player who changes the energy of a game. Trading him for Dosunmu would be short-sighted, especially when Houston already has the assets and flexibility to explore other avenues. There's a smarter way to approach this. If the Bulls decide to shop Dosunmu, Houston could easily involve a third team in the conversation. For instance, if Clint Capela becomes available as part of Atlanta's roster reshuffling, the Rockets could package him and a protected first-round pick to facilitate a multi-team deal. A wing from the third team could go to Chicago, while Dosunmu lands in Houston. That's the kind of creative front office move that keeps the Rockets competitive now without sacrificing the future. Still, the timing of any potential trade may hinge on one key factor: Reed Sheppard's growth. Sheppard's rookie campaign has already generated excitement across the league. His basketball IQ, shooting efficiency, and passing instincts are ahead of schedule, but as good as he's been offensively, his defense remains a question mark. Teams have been quick to isolate him in mismatches, testing his size and lateral quickness. That's natural for a young guard, but it's something the Rockets can't ignore if they plan to make a playoff push. If Sheppard continues to develop and hold his own defensively, the Rockets might not need to look outside their current roster. But if his limitations become a target that opposing offenses exploit, Houston will have no choice but to find balance, and that's where a player like Dosunmu becomes invaluable. Dosunmu's defensive presence alone would immediately elevate Houston's perimeter coverage. He could share the floor with VanVleet in a defensive-minded backcourt, giving the Rockets a formidable duo capable of disrupting opposing offenses at the point of attack. He could also slide into lineups with Sheppard, providing the rookie with protection and flexibility to focus on his offensive strengths. The potential fit is seamless. Dosunmu's blend of length, defensive grit, and unselfish playmaking aligns perfectly with Udoka's philosophy. In many ways, he represents the kind of player the Rockets have tried to build around: tough, versatile, and team-oriented. Of course, any deal would depend on the Bulls' direction. Chicago remains in the middle of a complicated identity crisis, not quite a contender, not quite a rebuilder. If they decide to double down on Giddey and White, Dosunmu could become available sooner than expected. But if they value his defensive consistency, the Rockets might have to wait until the trade deadline for an opportunity. Until then, Houston's focus remains internal. Udoka's system thrives on accountability, and that means giving Sheppard every chance to prove himself. The coaching staff believes in his long-term potential, and for good reason. His combination of vision, court awareness, and shooting touch gives Houston a dynamic offensive weapon to pair with VanVleet's leadership and Green's scoring punch. But the NBA is a league of adjustments. As teams scout Sheppard and learn how to attack him, the Rockets will need options, insurance in the form of a bigger guard who can handle physical matchups without compromising ball movement. Dosunmu checks that box. If Houston can add him without gutting their core, it would be a win on multiple fronts. He would strengthen their defense, stabilize the rotation, and give Udoka another trusted option in crunch time. More importantly, it would signal that the Rockets are done rebuilding and ready to compete for real. For now, the situation is fluid. Reed Sheppard's progression will dictate how aggressive Houston needs to be. If the rookie continues to thrive, they'll have the luxury of patience. But if his defensive shortcomings persist, the Rockets may have no choice but to make a move, and Ayo Dosunmu could very well be the answer hiding in plain sight. One thing is certain, the Rockets are on the rise. Their young core is maturing, their culture is taking shape, and the foundation is solid. Whether that next step comes from internal growth or an external addition like Dosunmu, Houston's future looks bright, and the guard rotation could soon have the balance it's been missing.